Hey guys, time for another knife review. This one is the Opinel number 8, which is a very affordable, high-performing, just pocket knife, I guess. You know, there's no real other way to describe this thing. It's just a very classic pocket knife design. Been used for a very long time. These have been, let's see, I think they were invented in 1890, and they've really not much has changed about them since then. You know, they just work really well. I'll start off with some specs. It's 1.6 ounces, which is pretty light, especially for a knife of this size. That's due to the wooden handle, which this specific model is a walnut wood. Most are beech wood for the handle, but I just thought this looked nice, and it was only a couple dollars more for it, so I figured why not. The blade is 3 1/4 inches long. Overall, the whole thing is 7 5/8, and the handle is just shy of 4.5 inches, which, you know, is gonna change depending on which model of the Opinel you got. This one, like I said, is the number 8, as you can see there. If you go up in numbers, the size gets bigger of the entire knife. As you go down, as you would expect, the size gets smaller. Blade steel on this is a 12C27 MOD Sandvik, which I have no real knowledge of that steel at all. You know, not very familiar with Sandvik steels. This is really my only knife with one, but it seems to work fine. It's never rusted on me. It sharpens easily, and I mean, it holds an edge for a decent amount of time for a pretty cheap knife. Speaking of the blade steel, and just talking about the blade in general, the grind on this is, from what I've read, is like a hybrid between a convex flat grind type thing. As you can see, the finish on this is slightly polished. It's not like a mirror finish, but it's pretty good. As you can see, it's picking up fingerprints. But anyway, it does have a very, very, very slight, very, very hard to notice secondary bevel. It's just a slight change in the knife's, you know, angle that it hits the, or it comes to its end with, I guess you'd say. Very easy to sharpen. A very good slicer, which makes this great for food prep, stuff like that. It's a really good camp knife, sort of, I don't know. It's a very people-friendly knife, too. I don't know, you could use this for anything other than, you know, real hard work, especially in this size. I know I've seen some videos, some guy who had like the biggest model of this, he was just chopping wood with it, which is ridiculous, but I don't know. If I had one of those, that'd be pretty cool. I'd do the same. It's got a ViroBlock locking mechanism, which was, you know, these didn't have that on them until 1955, so they went the better part of 60 years with without locks, and you know, it's just, I think the lock is a really great addition to it. It'd be fine without the lock. I mean, it's not a very loose knife, but it's not very I mean, you need to really like be using this wrong. I mean, I can put down a little bit of pressure on this before it starts to move forward, and even then it's got enough friction on its opening that you would notice it, and it wouldn't be like, put a little bit of pressure, it'd come down and cut you on the finger. So that's good. But yeah, this ViroBlock, as you can see, you can lock it in the open position. I've also heard this called the collar lock. As you can see, it's kind of does look like a collar. If you were thinking about this as the neck of the knife. Yeah, you can twist it to lock it from opening in the closed position, which is nice. Only the tip will come out, which, I mean, you can still poke yourself on, so be careful with that if that's an issue, if your knife pops out. And so you can open it, and you can turn this either way, and it'll lock. Basically, yeah, the ramp is pushed until the blade can't move forward, and it's a pretty secure lock. I don't really see any easy way of this coming undone with you, because it does take a fair amount of torque to disengage it, a very deliberate motion and force. I've had two of these. One, I mean this one I've had for probably over a year now. The other one I only had temporarily. I got it as a gift from my brother. His lock kind of snaps in place. Like there's a little bit of a, almost like a detent. This one's just a very smooth turning, yeah, there's no like click or noise, but I kind of like this better, the very smooth instead of the little pressure buildup and then release. Yeah, I like the way they did this. Let's see, what else? Oh, actually I'll save that till the end, the couple negatives I have about this knife. I do like the grip on this. The handle is very ergonomic. As you can see, there's a little bit of a swell right there for your palm. This little channel right here isn't too uncomfortable unless you're really gripping it hard. Even then, you just barely notice it. I mean, it's not like a sharp corner or anything. They did a really good job on that. And as you can see, it follows all the way through. I mean, you gotta be careful if you're closing your knife. You don't want your knife to kind of bang against this or rub against it. I don't know, maybe the blade could, the cutting edge could come into contact with some of it if you do it in a certain way. I haven't really tried. But yeah, just the overall design of this is good in the hand. So that's a plus. It kind of gets thicker as it goes out here, which it fills the hand really well. The number 8 is a very popular size. The number 6 is also. So I imagine if you have medium hands, you could probably go with something like this. The number 8. If you had smaller hands, you'd go for the number 6. And if you had even larger hands, you'd go for something like the number 9 or the number 10 even. Like I said, this is a good people-friendly knife. People aren't going to get weirded out by this in public. You know, you won't be seen as a tactical danger terrorist person if you take this out somewhere to, say, cut an apple, I don't know, do anything. Yeah, this would be fine. I really don't see how anyone can get scared by this. Yeah. Another really good thing about these is they're very cheap. This one was $18, which I'm pretty happy with that price. For walnut wood, kind of a, not your generic Opinel, it's just a little bit different with this wood. I mean, the quality on these are great. They're made in France. They're made in Savoy, France, which I believe it's just one factory. I could be wrong. I could be very wrong. I don't want to spew out incorrect information, but yeah, they do a good job on these, regardless of where they're made. Let's see what else. Yeah, I believe the Beechwood model it can't be more than $15. I mean, I just don't see that. It's probably cheaper than that too. So yeah, these are really good for if you want like a camp knife that you don't really have to worry about beating up an expensive blade, but it's still good quality, sharpens easily. You can toss this in a backpack. This is, I mean, I carry this in my little gear bag that I leave in my car. This goes in a pocket, and I used to carry this as an EDC blade when I first started getting into the whole EDC thing. I mean, it worked fine. You know, it's actually kind of fun to carry just because, you know, you feel cool carrying a nice wooden handled knife, and people always think they're nice and neat. That came out at the same time. They think they're neat knives. I know a couple people, I mean, even people who aren't into knives know what these are. I know some people who have these and don't know a thing about knives, so very universally used. Yeah, the one thing I don't like about this, or the one complaint I have rather, is that I think my blade on this came bent. It's not straight, as you can see. It kind of veers off towards the end there to the left side. It's kind of tough to notice on this camera, but you can kind of see it. It really is far to one side, like that. So I think I don't know how it got bent. It came like that. Could be just a quality control thing. I mean, I'm not too unhappy about it. I mean, this is a very cheap knife, so it's not a big deal. Yeah, so, you know, worst case scenario, if it ever did become a problem, just get another one. It's not a big expense at all. These do come in carbon steel too, as opposed to the 12C27 steel. Those you will have to maintain with oil a little bit better if you live in damper conditions or more humid areas. Oh, a couple things I forgot to mention. It does open with a nail nick. That's the easiest way to get this open. There's no way you're going to do a one-handed opening. I have seen mods or alterations to the handles people have done where they kind of mill this out and you're able to open it with one hand, but that's just unnecessary. This isn't a tactical knife. As you can see there, the markings for the inox for inoxidable, lets you know this is stainless, a logo, and then the little crest logo, which I don't want to give you guys a boring history lesson on that, but you guys can look that up on the Opinel website, I'm sure. It's kind of interesting, but yeah, I won't save that, or I'll save that from this video. Let's see what other markings are on here. Yep, it says made in France, and again the number for the model, and the logo again, and I believe the carbon steel ones have a big carbone, which is the French word for carbon, stamped across here in black ink. Anyway, so that's all there really is to say about these. All in all, they're a good knife. They're good knives, rather. So I definitely recommend one. You really won't go wrong. I'm sure if you get the Beechwood model, there's no way you'd be disappointed. It's super cheap, super usable, really good quality for what it is. Yeah, just check them out. Thanks for watching.